Hi, on Saturday the 18th of October I had need to be in West Cumberland. I was giving a talk, as it happened, on the Furness Railway north of Millom, and I took the opportunity to have a look at the railway situation at Whitehaven. So I went to Vansty station and I went to Corkickle station, where the tunnel of course is closed, and so the passenger services that serving either end. Since the line shut in July, at first trains only operated to Workington and to Sellafield with buses between, then they were extended to Whitehaven and eventually from the south to Corkickle with buses between the two. Interestingly, Northern have put Class 195s on some of the Corkickle services, which is a novelty. As I'd been doing a bit of research, it made me wonder, has this all happened before? Let's have a look. Whitehaven is a long-established port on the Cumbrian coast, once the third busiest in England due to its coal exports to Ireland. In the 1840s, the railway mania hit the town, and two railways approached: the Whitehaven Junction Railway from the north and the Whitehaven and Furness Junction Railway from the south. Both terminated either side of the town, with no connection between. In 1846, the Whitehaven and Furness Junction Railway got authority to build a tunnel from near its northern terminus through the hillside behind Whitehaven Castle to the Whitehaven Junction Railways Bransty station, or near, just north of it. Almost immediately, the Whitehaven and Furness Junction was considering alternatives to the tunnel. It was considering a viaduct of low arches over the town instead, and this was objected to by the townspeople and by the harbour commissioners, and the plan was dropped. Whilst it was being dug, there were problems with old coal mine workings, some of which had to be strengthened by stone arches behind the tunnel walls. But on 30th of September 1852, the tunnel was finally opened, 1,333 yards in length. The irony that the longest tunnel in Cumbria at that time was almost at sea level. There must have been problems with distortion and so on almost from the beginning. Certainly in March 1875 it was recorded in the local press that a 90-foot section of the tunnel wall was bulging due to water seeping through from the surrounding clay, more probably from the old mine workings. The irony is that the Furness Railway, now owners of the line, had only opened the through platforms at Bransty Station the previous December. From 1923, the Furness Railway became part of the London Midlands and Scottish Railway, and from 1922 had restricted its Sunday services from the south into Bransty to one train each way. This was to allow maintenance. This continued until 1931. In 1932, there were more extensive works underway to deal with the more dangerous distortions in the tunnel. And then, after some consideration, the LMS chief civil engineer decided that the tunnel walls would be relined. This was approved in 1935, but work would only occur during closures of 5 hours per night. Work commenced in 1936, but ceased in 1939 with the outbreak of war, not to resume until 1948. Meanwhile, the speed limit through the tunnel was 5 miles an hour. The tunnel was closed overnight, each night, and for most of the day on a Sunday to allow work to continue. After 1950, the decision was made to reinstate weekend services through the tunnel, and only weeknight possessions would occur. Finally, work was completed in 1958, and a celebratory plaque was affixed to the new Corkickle tunnel portal, itself 11 yards short of the old, and that was done on the 29th of June 1958. So we come on to late 2022. All of a sudden, Whitehaven Queen's Dock has turned orange. The water's coming from the railway tunnel. Blamed everybody. It probably did, but where did the water come from in the first place, especially as the local mines were coal and not iron? Works were planned for July 2025 to carry out an initial assessment of the tunnel in preparation for full track and drainage renewal. The tunnel closed on the 25th of July, and by the 30th, the decision has been made the line must remain closed. Any thoughts of renewal during August and September 25 were out of the window. And on the 18th of September 2025, it was announced the line would be closed until at least spring 2026. And that date seems to be getting further and further on. Various Ideas are being considered by Network Rail, but we've yet to see anything published.